you just picking like a singular face of baseball, it's just kind of almost singles out some of the other players and stuff like that. So I think like I mean he was wrong by saying that, and I just generally think like you should watch baseball if you're going to comment on it, or if you're not going to watch baseball, just watch a single highlight of him hitting the 460-foot dawn, and then watch him pitch 6 innings the next day, striking out 8, and then comment on that.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Brews and Brews Reviews, the show of cold drinks and even colder takes. So that just there was my friend and former teammate Stefan Biro, also known as Big Balls Biro, for his aggressive racing tactics on the track. So Stefan is an amazing athlete and friend as well as baseball savant. So he has his own YouTube channel called TrueRGM where he posts baseball highlights and other fun stuff too. So you can click the link in the description below for his channel. If you haven't seen the last episode, make sure to go check it out. It's an interview I did with another former UBC track teammate, Max Trummer, who joined me for a discussion about some track and field Olympic drama, soccer stuff, Euro final, as well as some juicy details about why he thinks Vancouver sports fans might be the worst fan base on the planet. So for today's episode, Stefan and I go over some baseball stuff, including Stephen A. Smith's recent comments on the MVP-bound human highlight reel that is Shohei Ohtani, the pitching revolution happening in the MLB today, and why baseball is the most analytically driven game in modern-day sports, as well as some other stuff too. But before we get into all that, we've got some brews to review. So for this week's brew review, we've got the Coors Banquet, sort of a nicknamed the Banquet beer, kind of the supposedly the less shitty version like of Coors Light, but yeah, 5%. Let's crack the sucker open. Let's see what they got for us. One sip, everyone knows the rules. Yeah, right off the bat, I can tell you, it's not it's not going to be in the elite category. It's I mean, it's drinkable, but I'd say this is more of a frat party kind of, you bring this one, you pour into the cups for some beer pong kind of thing. It's not a sipping beer. Yeah, I'd give this one. I mean, it's just drinkable. It's a beer pong kind of flip cup type of beer. I'll give it a 3.8. 3.8 for the Coors Banquet, the Banquet beer. And yeah, before we get into the interview, just make sure to send me your sports questions so that I can answer them live on the show. We're going to be doing a little bit of Q&A from the fans later this episode, so stay tuned. And now to the good stuff. How's it going, Stefan? Welcome to the show.
Pretty good. I just saw the Jays just blow a lead, so that was awesome to see. I'm in a great mood right now.
Awesome. How are you? I'm great. I'm doing well. Excited to talk some baseball. So yeah, last week we did an episode with our other teammate Max Trummer, talking Nike track conspiracy theories, Burrito Gate, Shelby Houlihan, and all that. A little bit of Olympics. Today we're going to be talking more baseball, a little bit of Blue Jays, a little bit of pitching stuff. Have you been watching the Olympics at all, Stefan?
I haven't actually gotten into much of it yesterday. I turned on like the Italy was playing, I don't even remember who, like the basketball game, and I saw Nico Mannion take one to the tin and got fouled pretty hard, and then I turned it off. Nico Mannion's my guy from day one. Made him an Instagram video back in the day, but not really. I haven't got into it. I'll get into it once the track starts. I used to like swimming a lot. I just feel like without fans, it's not as fun.
Yeah.
It really is a shame. Uh, like I guess Japan just didn't handle the pandemic that well. Like they
I,
didn't have like a proper vaccination program or anything.
yeah, I don't know what it is. I think there's some something happened a while ago, and so the Japanese population really just doesn't like government mandated vaccine. So only 20% of the population, I don't know the full details on that, but only 20% of the population is vaccinated, and like 99% of the population was against the Olympics happening in their home country, which is kind of
Yeah,
insane.
yeah. So I'll definitely have to tune in. Well, two of our former teammates will be competing, so we'll have
Natalia
to
and
tune in for
John,
that. Yeah, so that's exciting.
very
Um,
exciting.
but yeah, I'll probably get into it a bit eventually. I'm kind of busy with work though, so it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to balance.
Stefan's always working. So Stefan has his own YouTube channel as well, where he posts baseball highlights and pitching stuff. Make sure to go check it out. I'll post the link to that in the description. It's called TrueRGM. Exciting stuff. What do you got going on for your YouTube channel lately?
Um, s- we're in a bit of a dirty waters right now. We're having some copyright troubles right now, actually. So it's a bit of a mess, but essentially, I just like make like game highlights because the official MLB channel is just incompetent.
Jeez.
So like that's kind of how like if they were able to kind of do what I do, which isn't like hard, I wouldn't be able to like there'd be no place for my channel. So I kind of just like I don't know, I just make videos and you know it's good.
You're waiting for the big call from the MLB.
Yeah, yeah, I did tweet at them maybe a couple months ago asking for $3 million and I'll run their YouTube channel. They didn't respond, so it's,
Honestly, a pretty modest offer there,
I think
considering.
so.
Yeah, I
Like 10,
remember on our one of our races. So we were actually Stefan and I were rooming together at the CanWest, and we were up playing cards and stuff. But I was going to bed, and Stefan was up working on the baseball highlights.
yeah,
Man's
it was the World Series. It was Houston, Washington, and it was in Washington. It might have been Game 3, and yeah, Jake was sleeping, and I was just
I
putting
was
it. I was just in the
was
lab.
I was trying to get a nice rest before. So we were in Calgary for that race. It was CanWest. So all the Western Canadian universities kind of get together for this yearly competition. So we were against University of Calgary, Dinos, as well as Saskatchewan, I believe, the Huskies.
Yeah.
And it was actually a pretty crazy race. There was a full the day before it was nice and warm. We were going for our warm-ups and everything. Everything's nice and chill. And then we wake up the next morning, there's a full snowstorm. Couldn't even believe
Yeah,
my
I
eyes.
remember that I looked out the window and I was like, Jake, come and look outside. And you're like, oh, what? Still half asleep.
Freaking out a little bit. But yeah, no joke. This guy's working hard all the time. Even when we got a race the next morning in the lab.
Yeah, I've had a couple bad experiences with that. Like 2018, that 18 inning World Series game, I was up till 3 a.m. and we had a race that morning.
Brutal.
Yeah, so oh well, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Just making memories.
Yeah. Got to pay the bill somehow.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, let's get into some Blue Jays talk. So there's a little bit of controversy going around, or there was. It's kind of cleared up now. So Stephen A has recent apologized for it, but basically the face of the league right now. So it's kind of unprecedented. Uh so Shohei Ohtani is he still leading the league in home runs?
Yeah, he actually he hit another one today. He's at 35 right now, and Vladdy is at 32, and then Tatis is at 30, I think. Yeah.
So those three guys are just going off. Like every other day, I look on Instagram. There's a highlight video. One of those guys is doing something or doing an interview or just smashing home runs out of the park. Shout out Vladdy, he's doing super well. But the reason the Los Angeles Angels Shohei Ohtani was in the press was because he is like the best pitcher in the league. He's a crazy pitcher, and so pitchers aren't known for their batting usually. It's like pitching takes a lot out of you. It's like mentally and physically. You're literally the center spotlight, and so you're extremely focused. You're pitching, and so a lot of the time pitchers will have like a designated hitter for them. They won't, but Shohei is literally leading the league in home runs, and he's one of the best pitchers. So it's something we've really never seen before. And so Stephen A recently he recently got some flack. People were frustrated and angry at him because he was even labeled as like xenophobic and all these other things because he said, you know, it's bad. He basically said it's bad for the sport of baseball that this guy, Shohei Ohtani, is the face of the league, the biggest superstar in the MLB. And his English isn't great. He needs an interpreter. So his communication skills aren't quite where Stephen A would have wanted them. But, you know, if you watch baseball and you follow the sport, you would know that Shohei Ohtani is literally just blooming with charisma. He's such a fascinating guy because it seems like he's always smiling and you know he's not afraid of the spotlight. The cameras just love him. The fans love him. He's a fan favorite. So Stefan, what are your thoughts on this whole Stephen A situation? Do you think those comments were warranted at all?
Well, not at all. I mean, I generally think like sports shows like that are just idiotic in general,
Mm-hmm.
um, where they just say stuff just to get clicks. Obviously, he would take that back and he apologized. But I mean, it's just completely unwarranted. The thing is, he just doesn't watch baseball.
He doesn't. You know, it's
So
obvious.
if you watched a single game, you'd see how he interacts with his teammates. You'd see like how he's always smiling and like his interpreter. His name's Ipe. I believe I'm pronouncing that properly. And he's like a folk hero amongst like Angels fans. Like he's a legend amongst Angels fans, and he's kind of like treated like part of the team. Like at the All-Star game, Jared Walsh is another All-Star on the Angels, and they were like taking a picture of the Angels players at the All-Star game, and Jared Walsh invited Ipe into the picture as well. So like he's kind of like part of the team. So it's obviously it's not warranted, and I generally think like there's always like a big discussion about who the face of baseball is. I just think it's just like a pointless discussion to have. Just like enjoy the players that are playing well. Like there doesn't have to be like a singular face of baseball. If I would to pick someone, I would probably pick Shohei just because what he's doing. Like he's has like tons of fanfare in North America, and then you go to the Asian markets, and he's like a rock star over there. Like
Absolutely.
he's like a movie star over there. Um, but like I generally think like you just picking like a singular face of baseball is just kind of almost singles out some of the other players and stuff like that. So I think like I mean he was wrong by saying that, and I just generally think like you should watch baseball if you're going to comment on it, or if you're not going to watch baseball, just watch a single highlight of him hitting the 460-foot dawn, and then watch him pitch 6 innings the next day, striking out 8, and then comment on that.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, you're so right about the whole. I mean, it is an ESPN show. There, Stephen A is like the biggest character on in sports broadcasting, probably. So you know, he has to go on and comment and say something. But you know, it's just it's you don't really need this whole narrative. Oh, who's the face of the league? Like in the NBA, it's LeBron, and we're trying to figure out. But I mean, if you're a fan of the game, if you like watching the game, it's not like there's one face of the league. I mean, it's like I feel like that's part of the whole ESPN kind of corny, just going on and saying outlandish stuff to get clicks, getting all these hot takes, so you can, you
and
know,
and then you have like all the old players that like always like talk down on the game, like they don't like how it's being played now. And like you have that in basketball, but you also have that in baseball. And a lot of like the actual like TV announcers, like the analysts, they like during the game they like say like, they pretty much just ramble on how much they hate the game of baseball. Just because it I will admit like it is I would say it is like slightly less of a product than it was back in the day, just because there's less balls in play. And we'll probably get into this later. I don't know when you want to do it, but like just pitchers are like more dominant than they've ever been before. Like people don't realize how hard it is to hit a baseball. Like like, like it's their stuff is insane right now. Like you have starting pitchers that are throwing upper 90s, and then you have every relief arm in your bullpens throwing upper 90s with nasty breaking balls. It's ridiculous.
like an average person. I remember there was this I think House of Highlights posted, oh, what's more difficult, hitting a half court shot, a basketball half court shot, or trying to swing at 100 miles per hour fastball. Like people don't realize, if you stepped up to a plate and were thrown a 100-mile-per-hour fastball and you're just an average Joe, like you
You
can't
would
even
start to
see
cry.
that. You won't. There's like zero chance of you making contact.
You can hear it. You can hear that ball. That's how fast it's moving. Like you can hear it.
Yeah.
Like in your like it's ridiculous. Like the fastest I've ever faced is 90, and that's like fast.
Yeah.
Like that's moving. Like and add 10 more miles per hour to that, like I would start to cry.
Yeah. Yeah. You really just have, I mean, guys like you and me stepping up. It's just so intimidating when
Yeah.
you guys when you're up against guys with that kind of heat on it. Like
and
just
and, and it's not even like you're facing like 100 miles per hour. Like that's one thing, but then he like drops a 92-mile-per-hour slider right at your back foot. Like you don't know what's coming.
yeah.
It's like, so like I wish like broadcasters would like lift up the game, and like if a pitcher's dominating, don't complain about the strikeouts that are in the game. Like lift up the pitcher that's absolutely dominating. And if someone
Absolutely.
hits a home run off that pitcher, lift like explain how hard that is to do. Like go through like the pitch sequencing of the at bat. Like maybe like go into the mind of what the hitter's thinking, and like just explain like how hard it is what he just accomplished, rather than, oh, strikeouts, there's so many strikeouts in the game, why didn't he bunt the runner over to increase the chances of scoring a run? Like, dude, shut up, bro.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like Kevin Durant had a point when he started saying like, "Oh, old heads need to keep out of the game and let the players play." You know?
Yeah. Speaking of Kevin Durant, like while we're kind of on the topic, that guy is like very uncharismatic. Like if you listen to a podcast about like, I don't like, I guess like because he's like has like a bunch of business ventures, so like I guess people kind of think he's like out there. But if you listen to him talk, he's like boring. And then go like compared to Shohei, who's like electric on the field, like always like Shohei is way more like fun than Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I feel like some of the players that have kind of been in the game for so long, like in North American sports, especially Kevin Durant. I mean, he's been a superstar for so long. They start to become like a little bit jaded, you know? It's just like a little bit more. I mean, Kevin Durant is a different example because I mean, he's kind of known for going on Twitter tirades and getting blasted by the media. He's kind of built up this sort of villain persona, and you know, in interviews and stuff, he has his hood on, and like he doesn't really want to, if a reporter says something, he might call him. What was that during that one?
Blog boy. That's what he refers to them as, blog boys.
Okay. Yeah, there was that one interview after they beat the Bucks in the second round of the playoffs, and the interviewer asked him. I mean, it wasn't a great question. He asked him, "Did you ever think you'd be back to being this good?" And Kevin Durant's like, "Oh, what kind of question is that?"
Yeah.
And the reporter's like, "Oh, my bad." And he's like, "Well, yeah, that that injury was 2 years ago. I'm past that now." But he's kind of known for being a little bit. He doesn't like media too much, and it's kind of refreshing when you get these newer characters, kind of like sort of like Giannis. He's a little bit more genuine, and Shohei, they're always like smiling in the camera, laughing, cracking jokes and stuff. You won't see that from guys like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, some media deserve it though. Like, did you hear the question that JaVale McGee got asked? Like a reporter asked him if his mother was alive. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Jeez.
it's ridiculous. Like, sometimes it's warranted when an athlete is kind of standoffish to a media member.
I actually do. I agree with that a lot. Did you hear? So after the Suns lost the NBA Finals, someone asked Devin Booker with Chris Paul right next to him. He asked Devin Booker, "How frustrated are you for Chris Paul right now?" Like, what?
So such a bad question.
Devin's just like, next question.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But that's what, like, eventually NBA media is just going to be a bunch of active players with podcasts.
Yeah.
That's all the information. Like, JJ Redick's podcast is going to start breaking news.
It's great. JJ is really, really good at it. I think he's going to be a great analyst. Duncan Robinson as well.
Yeah, he has a good one. I think CJ McCollum has one as well.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I should go check it out. But yeah, so I wanted to do a little since we were on the topic of Shohei Ohtani and the whole Stephen A, like, oh, he doesn't speak English, shouldn't be this face of the league. There's so many other examples of international players who were stars in sports, that were just absolute fan favorites. People love them. You think of guys like Giannis more recently. His English wasn't great. I mean, he's been in the United States for quite some time now, so it's gotten a lot better. But you think of, the guy next to Shohei in the MVP race, Vladdy Guerrero Jr. His English isn't great at all, but people still love him.
Yeah. I distinctly remember one clip of Ronald Acuna Jr., who's on the Braves. He unfortunately tore his ACL maybe 2 weeks ago, but he's like a young star. And he had his interpreter with him after, I think he probably walked off a team. This might have been 2 years ago. And it was such a good moment because he's working on his English as well. But like the interpreter asked him the question in Spanish and he answered it in English, and then the reporter like put the mic back up to the interpreter, and he like didn't know what to say because he answered in English. It was like a really funny moment, and like stuff like that is just it's awesome. And you like I feel like, because a lot of these players are like trying their best to learn English, but they're just like uncomfortable to speak because they don't want to say, like, they don't want to mess something up,
right?
or stuff like that.
Media
just
can
because
take
the media is going to jump on them right. So like if like people were kind of more supportive of them, and then I think it would be a lot better overall. But I was listening to, I forget where it was, but like some reporters, he was covering the Yankees a while back, and he actually like tried to learn Spanish to kind of be able to communicate with some of the Latin players. So like I highly doubt many reporters do that, but like putting in effort like that, just like how the players are putting in effort to learn English, I think it could go both ways, right? So like if some of the media members try to learn a bit of Spanish, because like, I mean, especially in baseball, where, I mean, there's such a big Latin demographic in baseball. So I don't know, it probably would help if they tried to put in some effort as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the media characters are, players don't really trust the media because it's all about getting clicks and like forming a story. And a lot of media outlets are kind of known for twisting players' words and sort of making players out to be villains when they're really not. That's probably why a lot of guys like KD and Kevin Durant are sorry, KD and Kyrie are just kind of like mistrusting of the media. They don't like talking. Um, but yeah, I mean, okay, and there's this other side, right? I mean, a lot of the players, so there's certain players that are super friendly and charismatic and smiley and joking around with the media, not afraid to be on camera. And they get this negative light for not speaking English because of guys like Stephen A who don't watch or who just want clicks. And then there's this other side. There's players who get a lot of media attention and who are native English speakers. But fans don't like them as much. Like some of the past stars on the Blue Jays. Jose Bautista was just widely disliked. Josh Donaldson still highly disliked by a lot of fans. I don't know what it is.
Those guys are just fiery. Because when in 2015 when the bat flip happened, that got like a lot of backlash, like from the general fan even. Um, like which now at this point, like bat flips and bat drops and celebrations have become a lot more allowed. I guess that's not the right word, but like respected, I guess. Just now that there's just a massive young wave coming into baseball. But back then, even though that's like 6 years ago or whatever, like it was like I was still kind of frowned upon,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird to think about. But yeah, they're like, I guess like, I don't know, like Bryce Harper was kind of hated early on when he was playing, based on his antics. He was just a fiery guy, and like, he had like a huge like routine before he stepped up the bat where he would like step out, like brush his hands on the dirt, like tap the plate 13 times, and pitchers just didn't. And like, Cole Hamels once hit him on purpose, like clearly on purpose, and then he stole home on him, which was like pretty electric. And like that was a pretty fun moment. But yeah, like I guess I don't know. I guess some people just don't like players for like maybe no reason. I guess just because I don't know. It's kind of like people hating on LeBron for no reason. Like I don't want to see him win just because he's LeBron. I like to appreciate the fun and all that. So
I like it when players have personality.
yeah. And it doesn't necessarily mean that like every player has to like show it. Like Mike Trout has always been like, people always say that like, oh, he needs to be marketed more, and oh, he has no personality. But like part of it is like he doesn't have to be if he doesn't want to be. And like also he does actually kind of have a bit of a personality. Even like he has some like funny commercials, like him and Andrew Luck were in a commercial and they were dancing. That's pretty funny. And even like there's this picture of him in the dugout drinking a water jug that has like Michael's secret stuff, like an ode to Space Jam.
Yeah.
And like even stuff like that's like cool. But like people just view him kind of as like a boring guy, but I don't know, he's a cool guy if you like pay attention.
Yeah, that's funny you mentioned. I was just about to bring up Mike Trout because, like, one of the best, debatably, one of the best of all time, and you don't really see him a lot on TV.
Part of
I
it
don't
is
know.
because the Angels just stink and don't make the playoffs. But
That's true. The media kind of picks and chooses with the guys they want to broadcast more. Obviously, like the bigger market teams, most LA fans are Dodgers people, so
Well, and I can understand that. Just like even like myself posting videos, I kind of like focus like when I post like clips just of home runs, I pretty much focus on Ohtani, Vladdy, Tatis, um, Soto, and like unless if there's like a big moment in the game, and I post Pujols too because Pujols is a baller still, even though he's still not. He's obviously fallen off quite a bit from his St. Louis Cardinals days, but I want to see him get 700 home runs. But like those are kind of like the main people I post because they get the most views, right? Like so, like I can understand why like certain like players are marketed the way they are, just because I kind of in the same space, but like I also do try to, I don't know, at least every once in a while get a video of maybe a lesser known player, just because I don't know, yeah, it's still fun to like see like a player on a bad team that's having a good season. Like the Pittsburgh Pirates are an awful team, but they had 2 All-Star game starters this year, which is
Hmm.
kind of cool, right? So at least that gives the fans in that market something to cheer about.
Yeah. Where do you think this pitching surge is coming from? I mean, more pitchers than ever can throw 100-mile-per-hour fastballs. They've all got different kind of changeups and sliders and curveballs in their bags. Where's this resurgence in pitching coming from?
So I just think like pitching development as a whole is at like by far the best it's ever been. You know, they have like all over the place. They have like factories. Like that's not the right word, but like pitching factories kind of. There's one in Seattle called Driveline. I follow this YouTube channel called Tread Athletics, and I believe they're based in North Carolina or South Carolina, and like a lot of those like just develop pitchers and just in general like there's just like so much science available for pitching, um, and just people like based on like mechanics and also just like how to pitch to hitters, right? So there's kind of two things, like mechanics to like you can work on your mechanics to become more efficient, which allows you to consistently throw harder, right? And then there's like programs as well. So like there's like weighted balls, which like kind of helps strengthen your arm, but also like gets you like helps you work on your mechanics as well, like based on like your kind of path, right? Your arm path. And like a lot of that has just come into play. I like maybe that started like 10 years ago, but organizations themselves didn't adopt that right away, right? It was kind of like it was almost like an underground like kind of thing, right? Where you would have minor leaguers or major leaguers or whatever in the organization, where they would have to like hide the fact that they're using like weighted balls and stuff because like they weren't accepted in professional baseball yet. So you'd
Hmm.
have these players like doing weighted balls like in the secret locations at the field or whatever because they know the science. They know that that helps them develop and will eventually help them throw harder or whatever. But the organizations themselves hadn't accepted it yet. But now organizations as a whole are kind of revamping. A lot of that new stuff is being accepted, and just like in general, it's just like you can develop a pitcher who's a good athlete if you can give him good mechanics, um, and like work on their like body and get stronger. Um, you can develop them into a good pitcher. Obviously, not that's not the case for everyone, but like I mean, there's so many minor leaguers, right? So if you can hit on one of them, that's you're set. So
Do you think do you think because of all this new technology and science behind training in the gym and just getting stronger, do you think pitchers have a lot longer shelf life than they did back in the day? Because you hear all these stories about you know, pitchers having shoulder problems and just like throwing out their arms super early.
um, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Like, definitely better mechanics would prevent injury. Like pitchers are still getting Tommy John every year. Not all of them, but like you'd be shocked if a person in your organization isn't getting Tommy John, right? So I guess the hope is that eventually maybe that with better mechanics the injuries will reduce. But it's more, I would say it's more so just like optimizing um, like the performance of the player, and like I guess we'll find out in, I don't know, 10, 15, 20 years, once we just have more data, how kind of this new wave has affected injuries and stuff. But I would say like what we're seeing right now is just how like dominant pitchers can be when they have everything. Like I forgot to mention, even like there's like high speed cameras, like edgertronic cameras they're called, and like they're super slow motion, like so many frames per second, and you can like see like where your ball is released until like the very exact frame before your finger comes off the ball. So you can like, it's like pitch design, so you can like see, oh, I held it on my pinky finger too long. So if I can make a slight adjustment to where my hand is on the ball, then my slider is going to move like 3 more inches, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like it is interesting like that. And I wouldn't say like right now there's not really a hitting equivalent to that. Like the I guess like the launch angle swing where you're trying to hit the ball in the air more, because um, ground balls are ground balls are outs in the big leagues unless that they get through a hole. But like as a whole, like fly balls are better than ground balls, um, because fly balls have the chance to leave the ballpark as home runs, but ground balls, I mean, there's 4 infielders right there, right? So, um, so I there's not necessarily like a hitting equivalent to like the amount of data there is to develop pitchers, I would say. I don't know if they're, obviously, like I'm not an expert on this, but like I don't know if there ever will be, which is interesting. Uh, so I don't know if they're gonna like, maybe they'll have to move the mound back, but we'll see what happens.
I heard they were talking about moving the mound back, but you think that's realistic?
Uh, I don't know. They're trying it out in the minor leagues, I believe, right now.
Hmm.
So I guess we'll see. We'll see how that has affected it by the end of the season. Right now, they're kind of like using the minor leagues, like a certain league in the minor leagues is like a guinea pig testing thing where they try out a bunch of different things. Like one league's doing automatic strike zone and stuff. So like there's like the umpire has like a earpiece and is told if it's a ball or strike and stuff
Because
like that. So
I mean, for major league ballpark, I mean, if they were to do that, it kind of just changes everything. And I mean, not to mention having to redesign all the ballparks and everything.
yeah, they would only move it back like 1 foot. So instead of 60 feet 6 inches, it wouldn't be like a huge difference. But for hitters, that's like, I don't know what the number would be, but it would be like a fraction of a second more to react to the pitch, right?
Right.
So it would be an adjustment for pitchers. Uh, I wouldn't, I don't know how much of adjustment though, but I feel like over an off season they would be able to adjust to it, and like it's just giving hitters more time to react, right? Because right now they, because of the velocity, every like you have to like be ready for upper 90s fastball while the pitcher also has like a 85-mile-per-hour curveball, right? So like it's hitting's hard.
Hitting's not easy.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see uh, how things develop over time. But I mean, well, like maybe a team will maybe a team you'll see a team that like kind of goes back to the old mold, um, where they kind of don't don't go for the home run ball, try and like win games on like stolen bases and stuff. I don't think so though. Like it analytically, it's better to hit home runs and walk, right? So like because that's kind of like what we were talking about before. the big why old people are mad is because there's kind of like three true outcomes in baseball right now. You either hit a home run, you either walk, or you either strike out. And like what fans especially, like if a hitter strikes out in like a certain situation, say there's a runner on third with one out and the infield's playing back, like in that situation, obviously a ground ball to second base would be better than a strikeout because it would score a run. But people like focus in on like one certain play and kind of extrapolate that as like, oh, strikeouts are super bad. Whereas if like a hitter had in his mindset says I can't strike out, that hitter's not gonna like swing like he normally would, right? Which is gonna decrease your chance of slugging the baseball, which is good. Like extra base hits is what wins baseball games, right? So if you like look at the leaderboard of like strikeout like rate leaders in baseball, like I think 4 in the top 10 like of best strikeout, like so lowest strikeout rates amongst like offenses on teams have like well below league average offense, like in terms. So like striking out isn't necessarily a bad thing, right? If you can replace strikeouts with like hard contact, that's a good thing. But that's hard to do because if in your mind you're saying I can't strike out, then you're probably not going to hit the ball hard, right? So
Yeah,
that was kind of a rant, I guess, but I kind of went off the deep end there. But
I like that. It's a little deep dive into the actual analytics of hitting and stealing bases and everything.
yeah, so I would love to see stolen bases come back into play, but right now it's only smart if you can be successful more than 75% of the time, then it's a good thing. But if not, then you shouldn't be stealing bases because outs are so valuable, right? You only have 27 in the game. So that's why no one like sacrifice bunts anymore, because back in the day, like oftentimes you would see like sack bunts, right? To move the run over, you would sacrifice an out. But now we understand there's things called like a run expectancy table. So you can like it like kind of like shows based on the situation like how many expected runs you're going to score, and like that shows that that table shows that bunting isn't a good thing analytically. So so baseball is like right now like by far the most analytically driven game. I would say football's getting there because now you have like you know people in organizations with like tables up in the press box, like tables like should I go for it on fourth down or not. And you'll see like teams like the Baltimore Ravens are going for it on fourth down a lot more, and because they're like analytically driven, like they love to go for it based because going for it's actually a good thing. It's like it's often smarter. I guess it's kind of similar to run expectancy in baseball, like your point expectancy in football, right? So it'll be, and I mean, and basketball too. That's why we see the 3-point revolution. But yeah, like the game is sports in general are gonna have changed substantially because there is people in organizations that are smart that aren't run by like old geezers who, oh, this is how we did it back in my day. We bunt them over.
Yeah, you mentioned going for it on fourth down. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers would still be hosting Jeopardy if his organization had adopted that same mentality.
Yeah, that's maybe he'll retire and play baseball.
Yeah.
He can join with the Brewers. They're playing well.
Yeah. Well, pretty much every NFL quarterback like get drafted by baseball teams as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, Tom Brady was drafted as a catcher. Kaepernick was drafted. Mike Vick was drafted. I mean, Russell Wilson played. second base in the minor leagues. Baker Mayfield was drafted. Jameis Winston, I think, was drafted. He definitely
Manziel
played
was.
at he definitely played at Florida State.
I remember my friend Patrick had a Manziel like Orioles jersey or something like that. It was pretty sweet.
Pretty. Yeah. Tebow played for the Mets. Well, not actually for the Mets, the minor leagues.
Yeah, what's Tebow doing now? He's playing tight end. No, he's playing
tight end. Yeah.
We'll see if he actually plays any snaps. I mean,
he might not even make the team. Yeah. I mean, his Urban Meyer was his coach at Florida, so maybe Urban will throw him a bone and let him be on the roster.
Yeah. I mean, Tebow was always built enough for like he had the build of a tight end.
Well, he refused to change positions earlier in his career. That's why he was like kind of forced out of football.
Yeah.
But now he realized, man, I suck at baseball. Now I have to change positions. I think he did homer in his first professional game, though.
That's pretty sweet. Yeah, I feel like, I don't know, he was never really a true quarterback. He was kind of just like he was a gritty guy who liked to run.
Yeah, I mean him beating the Steelers in that playoff game is still legendary, though.
Yeah,
but
that Broncos run was pretty sweet.
Yeah, it was. He like was horrendous, but like somehow played well in the fourth quarter every time. But I mean, because that was like he was traded that off season, I think, after he won that playoff game, and yeah, I wish he had another chance, but I mean, oh well. He was awesome. He was like he's like one of the best college quarterbacks.
Yeah, I was about to say, I mean, on the Gators, like, first of all, that Florida team was pretty crazy. But second of all, he was like a stellar quarterback in college.
Yeah. You like that's the thing about college though. Like you can be like a phenomenal college quarterback but not translate to the NFL just because you can like read throws and stuff. Because a lot of the time, like that was kind of like the knock on Marcus Mariota. He was never really able to read a defense because Oregon always just had like super quick reads and stuff. And so yeah, you can same with like college basketball, right? Like you can be a dominant college basketball player. Like Tyler Hansbrough was a force in North Carolina. Now he's like he was a pylon in the NBA. But yeah, so it is. I don't know. Now at least, even if you're not going to be a good pro, you can make a good amount of money if you're good at college sports. On
the topic of college sports, are you running at all right now?
I went for a run this morning. I would say I'll run. I'll get back into it eventually. I think I'm gonna get Coach Will, who has appeared on this podcast before. I think I'm gonna get Coach Will to coach me.
Will Riley. He has yet to come back. I think we might do an NBA or maybe a Spider-Man movie. Spider-Man actors rankings coming up soon.
Big movie. He's a big movie guy.
Big movies guy.
Yeah, he doesn't respect my opinions, which is kind of disrespectful.
He doesn't respect Moneyball, which is just unacceptable.
He hates Aaron Sorkin, which is like, Aaron Sorkin's the GOAT.
Right. Okay, so taking some downtime from running, are you playing ball at all? I know you were working on your left-handed pitching, so.
Yeah, so that's been quite fun actually. So in March of last year, when everything got shut down, I was like, I was like super unmotivated to run. I was like, man, I'm not gonna run. So I was like, but I need something to do. So I was like, man, I'm gonna teach myself how to throw left-handed, which would I did not really think I would still be doing it, but I'm still going at it. I'm like way better than I was back then. There's still like a lot of things that I need to get better at. But I do want to like maybe start, I don't know, like I want to like try and like throw 90 with both hands. Like that's obviously like super probably unrealistic. I think I could get to 90 with my right hand. But I think it would be fun to like kind of document that kind of thing. So I'm still doing that. I'm not as I kind of got to get back into it. I'm gonna buy a radar gun soon. Just go to work. Maybe invite some people out for some live at bats. Hit him in the noggin, and then strike him out next day. B.
Can't hate that.
But yeah, it's fun. It's hard. It's hard to like reprogram like something you've never done before. It's just like hard to like even like where your arm is in space. You think it's somewhere else, or you think it's where it's supposed to be, and then it's like completely in the wrong spot. It's hard that way. But
I've been watching the progression on YouTube though. I mean, you've uploaded it on Redshirt Culture.
yeah,
It's actually looking pretty good.
yeah, it like in like normal speed, it looks normal, but if I like go frame by frame, there's like some mechanical inefficiencies. So that it's been fun to try and address those. Like I've gotten really into mechanics, like that Tread Athletics that I mentioned earlier. He posts like super good like mechanical breakdowns and stuff. So I kind of gotten into that. I don't know. It's just a fun thing to do to keep me busy. I enjoy it.
Very cool. All right,
But,
so let's move on to this this new section. So we're doing a different segment today. We're trying this out. We're doing a little life advice segment where we answer questions that come in from you guys, the fans. So
we got some questions today.
we got a question. We got our first question of the day. So
how do you look so good? Always.
I mean, get a couple of those now and then, but so this question comes in from Niall from Ontario. So Niall is a soccer player, played out at Dalhousie, and he asks, "Hey Jake, I have a tough question for you. At what age was LeBron James a better athlete than you at your peak?" And
that's a good question.
It is a good question. So first of all, thanks for the thoughtful question, Niall. But you know, it's a big assumption to make that LeBron James was ever a better athlete than myself, especially at my peak. I don't know. What do you think, Stefan?
You want me to go?
You go first.
I certainly remember back when in my intramural basketball days where I would do a long run on a Thursday. So we'd go about 19 kilometers probably, and I would go straight to intramural basketball and I would snap rims. So I don't know if LeBron's ever done that.
Oh man, now that you mention it, I remember playing rec ball. So Stefan and I were playing on the same team, and you know, as a student athlete, we had to get our workouts in every day, and you know, our coach at the time had us doing long runs on Thursday, which was coincidentally the days that we had our rec basketball games. So, you know, we'd come from running 16, 17, up to 21 kilometers, I think I got on one of our days. And, you know, we get back, have a little bit of electrolytes, maybe a little snack, but then just straight to intramural basketball, just tossing up dimes for Stefan over here, throwing down.
People do forget that I had one of the great game time plays of all time. Little floater alert, well over the big man. And then Tanner, absolutely, who's one of our friends, absolutely fouled the living daylights out of this guy. He was shooting a half court heat, but the ref didn't call it. That guy was mad. I mean, like, dude, it's a rec basketball game. Just put a smile on your face.
Seriously. Yeah. I mean, so I guess long story short, answer to your question is, Niall, how dare you? How dare you assume that
when did LeBron first dunk? Would be the question. He probably was dunking
12 or something.
He was probably 12, yeah. I mean, LeBron never dominated a cross-country circuit like I did in grade 5.
I mean, LeBron never ran Sun Dodger, so
I've run Sun Dodger like 3 times. He couldn't handle it.
yeah, couldn't
No,
take the heat.
that guy, LeBron. I would say he's probably like 7. He was 7 when we were equal.
Yeah,
But
probably.
in terms of like explosive activities.
Yeah, I mean,
When could he vert jump 30 inches? Probably when he was 8.
probably when he was 8 years old. Yeah. I mean,
In terms of endurance, though, we've always been better.
I think I saw it on JJ Redick actually the other day. He was thinking about which NBA players could play other sports in the Olympics. And it's kind of just, it's hard to compare because I mean, these athletes are just dominant in their own right, jumping and passing and shooting and whatever. But I mean, what do you think LeBron could run for a 5K? Probably like, you could maybe run like 18, 19 minutes, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe, yeah, like sub 20 would be his goal, maybe. There is one thing about Shohei Ohtani. I think he would be a phenomenal decathlete.
Jeez.
Like
you're probably right about that.
He's one of the fastest players in the league too. Like he's like a phenomenal athlete. I think he could, if he trained for the decathlon, he could have brought home the gold for Japan, which would have been a crazy story. Home Olympics if he was decathlete. Alternate universe. Jeez. Alternate universe. Simulation theory.
Bring up the Olympics. So the other day, actually, I was watching skateboarding on the Olympics. Actually, the first time skateboarding is in the Olympics. I think it's pretty cool. I like watching skateboarding.
I used to get into skateboarding back in the day. I forget what the series was called, but Nyjah Houston, Chaz Ortiz, Sean Malto, the OGs.
Shaun White, maybe?
Yeah, dirty. He's not in that career. He doesn't deserve to be there.
No, he doesn't. He's a scumbag. Frig that guy. No, yeah. I think the Japanese guy brought home the gold medal.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Pretty cool. And then there's also skateboarding's a new one in the Olympics. There's also 3-on-3 basketball, which is just, I mean, okay, I'd say it's better for the smaller countries who can't put together like a full roster to contend with, like the United States or whatever. Like if you have 3 good guys, you can contend. But I mean, just watching it, it's got like they play from half court and everything, which is kind of cool. It's more kind of like street ball kind of vibe, but still, I don't know.
I don't think Team USA qualified for it on the men's side, at least.
Huh.
Because this name probably won't ring any bells for everyone, but Robbie Hummel is like USA's best like 3-on-3 guy. He went to Purdue like a while ago. I only know this because we used to get the Big Ten Network for some reason, which is like a conference in the NCAA. So I'm a big Ten guy. So I know Robbie Hummel, Aaron Kraft, Jordan Hulls, all the guys back in the day. But that's a side note. I don't think they actually qualified Team USA, which is
I don't think any
crazy.
Real NBA players want to play 3-on-3 basketball.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Maybe OG Anunoby will be at the next 3-on-3 in the next Olympics. Take it home. What if just like one random USA, like one scrub like Jared Dudley played 3-on-3 and just showed how good he was?
That would be pretty cool. I would watch that.
Yeah, Jared.
Or like even JJ Redick, who everyone just talks about as like he's a one-dimensional player. It would be cool to kind of see him just go off.
Yeah, I wonder. It would be interesting to see.
I wanted to talk about Canadian basketball because it's so disappointing. You look around the NBA. There's so many like really good Canadian players. I know Jamal Murray was injured this year, but I mean, we got my man Kelly Olynyk, Andrew Wiggins,
Maple Jordan.
Like, I don't know. I feel like some Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, super good. Did he even play?
I don't know. I didn't really follow it that much.
A lot of NBA players, I feel like, just, I guess if you're in the NBA, you don't really care about the Olympics that much, but it would be cool to see them actually make the Olympics.
Yeah, like I feel like there wasn't really an excuse, even like how their roster was constructed to not make it.
Yeah,
I think they lost to Greece or Turkey, one of those two, I think.
Greece, I think, yeah.
Without Giannis.
Without Giannis, and I mean,
And
we
his
don't
brother.
have Jamal Murray, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but I mean, we should still be able to put together a decent roster. I mean, Jamal Murray was out. Where was Tristan Thompson in all of this? That guy doesn't care about Canada at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like a lot of NBA players just don't want to play basketball in the summer.
Yeah.
Or in their off season.
It's I mean, okay, it is tough going from regular season and then playoffs to the Olympics, but and you know, it's the classic thing of guys who don't play together, haven't played together for a little while. They're not, some of them are, you know, no one really buys in or whatever. Some of them are less dedicated, but it's just disappointing, man.
Yeah, you'd like to see them make it. Even like I don't know. It's just like because they should be good if everyone played, but I mean Team USA lost to France, so
That's true.
It I don't know. At least it shows that a lot of countries are getting good. It just shows that the game is generally going in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah, and Team USA has kind of become that team that no one wants to see win anymore.
Yeah, yeah. So if I certainly would not be upset if Team USA loses. It would be. I don't know. It's just like fun to see. Obviously, if like all of the top players played, they would probably win. But I mean, like, there's not really any excuse for them to lose.
Yeah, there really isn't.
So I don't know. I didn't watch the game, so I didn't see. But I guess Evan Fournier is just that guy.
Evan Fournier.
I don't think Frank the Tank played. Frank Nitilinka.
Oh,
I don't think he didn't play. I don't know if he's on the roster or if he was just or if he it was just a DNP, but that'd be pretty embarrassing if he was just a DNP.
Well, at least we got Nico Magnon on Italy to cheer for.
Yeah, that's my guy. He's so good. He was a legend in high school. Everyone go watch this mixtape.
He kind of got disgraced when he first came into the league, though. Like there was that one play that House of Highlights and, you know, Bleacher Report kept posting. I think he got a pass and he had like a wide open lay in and he just like fumbled the ball or something.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Oh,
he
and then
was, like, before he got to college, like he was like a lottery pick. Like he was going to be a lottery pick, and then he didn't play bad at Arizona, but I mean, he's a smaller guy, and
he's not a bad player.
No, he's not. I think he's going to have a career.
Yeah. I think there was that one highlight where he was running back to get on defense, and then LeBron just set a pick, and he just
he's just small right now.
Yeah,
he
kind of just gets bodied.
Put in work, get in the lab, readjust some things in his brain.
Yeah, hit the arm farm.
Maybe I'll have to get in the arm farm. Throw harder. I have to make a decision. Do I want to keep running or get big?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll work on my mechanics for the next year while I'm running. Get my mechanics set, retire next year, and hit the arm farm.
Gotta get that bench up, man.
Yeah. Maybe you have to ask Will next time he comes on about his 215
His
bench rep.
Picture didn't happen, man. That's his claim to fame.
Maybe that will be my listener question. I'll send an email in.
Did Will Riley really bench 215?
Yeah.
I mean, I think he was saying 225 at one point, but he brought it down to 215 because.
But it was actually 205.
Maybe that one was spotter assisted or something.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
Anyways, I think that's about it for baseball and the Olympics. And unless there's anything else you want to add or talk about.
I don't think so. I think we covered most of it. A lot of everyone should go watch baseball. It's good. It's fun. It's fun with the young players.
Yeah.
I'm just being a national salesman so that MLB hires me, if I'm being honest. But
any plugs to get in? What are you working on right now?
Nothing like really. I mean, I'm just making videos and stuff. I might work on I might have a little project in the works, but we'll see what happens. It probably won't ever get released because I'm normally good at doing that, starting something and not finishing it.
Aren't we all? Well, I'll be looking out for it if it does get released.
Cool. Well, thank you for having me. That was fun.
Yeah, it was great.
I would say I'm the number one fan of your podcast, without a doubt.
I've been appreciating those comments, man. I really appreciate those.
Yeah, I'll have to comment again on this one. Man, that guy is so cute.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Stefan. Really appreciate it.
All right. See ya.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. For more in-depth sports analysis and brew reviews, make sure to follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcasts. We've got a lot more exciting content on the way, so make sure to stay tuned, stay thirsty, and keep bruising.